Oh, we're live.
We is going live.
Whoa!
Brian's naked.
Mics are hot. Hot mics, hot mics.
I'm growing in the shower.
Aren't we all? All right, let's minimize all this bullshit.
Oh, shit.
What's up, boys? How was the weekend?
For some reason, my right earphone's not working. Give me a sec.
It stinks.
This is the smoothest opening that we've had with Brian. Figured out all the technology.
Now I don't have any clothes on.
Yeah,
Brian,
no,
Brian, I did have somebody text me after the Sheehan podcast and be like, I can't believe that dude was 38. I thought he was closer to 50.
That's awesome. I take pride in that.
Had to be the glasses.
Probably. I'd actually take them off yesterday. I was getting a headache. Weekend was good. The weather's been so hit or miss. It's like 61 day and 90 the next. You know what's going on?
Yeah.
What's it like out there, Brooks?
It's been pretty good. It's like 70 and rainy today. But for the most part, it's been pretty nice. We've had a couple of cold days, like just mixed in here and there, but I think all this week is going to be like in the 70s and 80s.
Next week we're on Tuesday, right?
Whenever, doesn't matter.
All right, because we got our. I think we just lost Dusty. We have our derby party next Saturday. So I'm going to be an absolute just mess. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Because Monday I have a golf outing for a buddy of mine who passed away. So Tuesday is the best day for me. And also going to be a day of recovery. Yeah.
That works. We Caitlin and I are going to Charleston this weekend. We come back Sunday, so Monday will be a kind of get shit done back together day.
Right.
And then we leave again for vacation the next weekend. So
what I know it's a family event. Is this like your parents and then the two of you, or the three of you guys
for vacation?
The four of you guys, I guess.
It's actually Caitlin's parents and family, or just Caitlin's parents, her brother and his wife, and then my parents and Dustin, and me and Caitlin and Banks. So should be fun. It's the first time we're doing like a full family, everybody's together kind of thing. So should be good. Just excited.
Cool.
Hell yeah. All right, I'm back. I'm hearing out of both ears now.
Cool.
Give myself a little beer.
Nice. What is that?
This is a Burley Oak Lost
Okay.
IPA.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What kind of beer is it?
It's like a hazy IPA. Burley Oak's like 10 minutes down the road. It's like one of the more popular breweries down here. So shout out them.
Yeah, man. We know the brewer. He looks like Delaware Dave. That's not a joke.
He does look like Delaware Dave. I thought he was Hippie Greg the first time he came in. You know who that is?
I do know who Greg is. Dusty, you want to fire it off?
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture podcast. We're recording Monday, April 29th. It sucks. Sucks we have to record after this series against the A's. Two blown saves in the ninth. Had a Kimbrel. He got pulled yesterday after he blew the save in the middle of the inning. They're saying it's upper back tightness. I guess we'll continue to monitor that. Did you guys watch these games? It was a super weird weekend.
Yeah, I did. I mean, they look disheveled. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. Really a non-cohesive unit.
I missed the bad game that everybody was talking about, the first game.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of it, but I definitely fell asleep before the end of it. When all the shit hit the fan. But last night or yesterday, I should say, I watched. Definitely not upper back tightness. Definitely just didn't like the mound situation.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell that the entire time with him looking down at it. But going into the series, everybody was all hell bent on like, hey, I don't trust anybody in this bullpen besides Kimbrel and Cano and
Cool.
Aiken here in I mean, I guess you could say Cologne too. But everybody was all pissed off about it and all high on Kimbrel. Then after this series, everyone's down on him. Yeah, he had a rough series for sure, but we knew stuff like this was going to happen with a 30-some-year-old closer who's past his prime. And we knew we were throwing a Band-Aid on what we lost. I mean, nothing's going to be as good as Batista. So
yeah,
hopefully he figures it out. Hopefully, I mean, the good news is we have a lot of reinforcements coming back, and there's just not enough rotation spots. So these guys are going to be helping out in the bullpen as well, which is a overworked bullpen as it is. And Kimbrel's overworked as well. I know that Hyde probably doesn't want to use him as much as he is right now, but he's kind of forced his hand and put him in that situation. So I don't know. What else you guys think?
Can Cologne not have a blue glove? It's bad juju. I mean, I'm sorry. It's a curse. It's a heck.
He wears that glove. This is a big story this weekend. He wears that glove for awareness for his special needs son.
But now I feel like a douche.
Yeah, you should. Jackass.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Got him.
I'm not sure what condition his son has. I know I saw it this weekend, but yeah, he wears that and specifically for that reason. But yeah, I don't think the blue glove's affecting the bullpen. Look, Kimbrel had a bad series. We talked about it before the year a lot. He's going to have series like this. He's a 35-year-old closer. Brooks kind of said that. So.
Well, now I'm a supporter of the blue glove now.
Don't take it off. Don't take it off.
I do want to talk about, on a positive note, though, Gunnar Henderson is just fucking torching the ball right now. His last 15 games, he's 21 out of 63 at the plate, 6 home runs, 14 RBIs. He's got over 1,000 OPS. He's stealing some bases. He's playing great defense. He's having the MVP caliber start to the season that we all hoped he could. What have you guys seen from him specifically?
Well, there's nothing specific other than he's just smoking the ball. I mean, he's making hard contact every single time he touches it. Now, Dusty, I got a question for you because you're more the betting guy. Have you looked at any MVP odds? Way too early to get into this conversation, but is he up there in the top 3 or 4?
I have. He is currently at number 4. Let me pull it up. He is currently at number 4. He is 6-1.
I think
before the season,
Betts
I believe
is
he was
favor,
12 to
right?
15 to 1. So yeah, right now he's at 6-1. I think Trout is ahead of him. I think Soto is ahead of him. And then I think Bobby Witt Jr. might be ahead of him as of right now. Other than that, he's right up there.
Mookie favored recently?
Mookie's favored in the National League, yeah, for sure. Yeah, baseball, you always have to remember that there's 2 MVPs, not just one. So yeah, I'm pulling it up as we speak. Sorry.
It's all good. I mean, he just looks locked in every single at bat, no matter lefty, righty. It doesn't matter, and you can even tell there's while there are still some swing and misses, when he does swing and miss, he's so pissed off at himself, and then the next pitch he just freaking hammers the ball, even if it's an out or a hard line drive. It's still he's making solid contact almost every time. I love it. I know they have analytics for everything, like hard hit percentage or whatever the hell it's called. I mean, he's got to be at the top.
Yeah.
Hey, remember this offense that we were all bitching about that wasn't doing very good? I think we're number 1. I think we're number 1 in everything right now. Just about.
Yeah. I mean, the lineup is loaded. Just another series that just tells us, look, the team needs are some steady bullpen arms and maybe another starter. But look, we're going to talk about it in a minute. We've got reinforcements coming. Bradish coming straight back to the O's. Doesn't have any more rehab starts to make. His last rehab start in the minors, 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. He threw almost 80 pitches. John Means yesterday or 2 days ago in AAA Norfolk threw 7 innings, a 1-hit ball, had 8 strikeouts, threw almost 100 pitches. So our guys are getting ready to come back. I mean, if we can get together a rotation where Dean Kramer is our number 5, then I'm very excited about that prospect. And then move Suarez, move Irvin back to the bullpen, where they can be a little bit more comfortable, I think.
Well, also
but after Irvin's last couple starts, yeah.
Also Tyler Wells. I mean, Tyler Wells, whenever he gets back, depending on, I mean, they still haven't. They've been kind of quiet about what's going on there because I don't think he's even started to throw yet. But I mean, whenever he comes back, whatever Means is going to do, I mean, really, you can just interchange a couple of these guys. And right now, honestly, if you look at the ERAs, Kramer's the worst out of all of them, which is good news. But I mean, there's going to be bullpen reinforcements just out of lack of spots. So, and also 1 month is not a good sample size to know what you have in the bullpen quite yet. Just especially since they've been so overworked. Same thing with the beginning of last year; they were so overworked, and everybody was up in arms at the beginning of last season. Once these starters are starting to go a little bit deeper, and hopefully we can start stranding a couple more runners on base when they come in. But I think when we get towards the middle of the season, that's when it's going to come down to, like, should we make a move for somebody for relief? We'll have a better picture of what the bullpen's actually going to be, especially if they're not getting as taxed as they are right now. So we'll see here soon. I don't think it's time to start making rash decisions quite yet. I think they're still trying to figure it out.
4-game set at home against the Yankees. This is the biggest series of the season so far. They are a full game ahead of us at 19-10. We're 17-10. But we could flip that tonight with the win. Grayson's on the mound against Clark Schmidt. He's one of their top young guys. He's 2-0 with a 3.5 ERA thus far this season. Tomorrow night, Dean Kramer versus Nestor Cortez. Wednesday night, we have Corbin Burns versus Luis Gil, who's another young stud they have. And then Thursday, Carlos Rodon is pitching for the Yankees. We don't know who's pitching for the Orioles. Could be Kyle Bradish, could be Cole Irvin, could be newly found ace Albert Suarez. I have a couple other suggestions.
Scott Erickson and Kevin Miller from the rundown.
Yeah, I thought about Jeremy Guthrie too. I wasn't sure.
So if we could get a start from Bedard in there, that'd be great.
Scott Erickson.
Delaware Dave tells a great Kevin Millwood story when all, like, the young guys were coming up. I'm blanking on some of the names right now, but like Kevin Gossman and that, like, young pitching rotation. They all came with the Nacho Mamas, and they were all trying to split the check. And he said Kevin Millwood walked up to the bar. He goes, and Kevin Millwood's wife was there. He goes, "I'm trying to get laid tonight. I want a double vodka soda." And then he goes, "Don't let these kids pay this stupid check." He pulls a knot of money out and just throws it in the bar.
I love that. How long was he in Oriole? Maybe like a year or two. It wasn't long, right?
Two, yeah.
Yeah.
Big son of a gun, man. I remember seeing him. He was broad.
Big country.
Yeah. I mean, look, we dropped the shitty series to the to the A's. They're a bad team. We probably should have won all 3 of those games, at least 2 of them, but whatever. You know, this kind of stuff's going to happen. It's a long season. And at the end of the day, I joked before the season started that the A's are going to be the worst team in baseball history. They still have professional baseball players playing. It's not like we're playing a minor league team. So,
well, it's like it's going to be the White Sox now.
I know the White Sox are a complete disaster. They're like 3-24 or something like that.
I think they've won 4 or 5 games. Yeah.
Yeah,
they've been shut out. Like they've been shut out more than like somewhere around like half of their losses or something, or maybe under that a little bit. But
ever since they hired Tony La Russa for that nice young core they had like 5 years ago, and he completely fizzled the whole team out. I mean, what were they thinking?
Well, he likes falling asleep at stoplights, so in a car.
Well, who doesn't like doing that, Brian?
Oh, that was. I did not mean to take a blow.
You're good. Something we didn't talk about. Jackson Holiday sent back to AAA. That happened probably right after or probably a couple days after we recorded last week. What do you guys think? You think this is a good move? You think this is kind of like a similar situation to what happened with Grayson Rodriguez last year, where he struggled early and then trying to get him back, get his head right, and come back? What do we think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's no reason to keep him up here just to keep struggling, especially if he's going to start losing some at bats. Let him go down there and get his head right. But I mean, I saw his first game; he was 0 for 4 down there. I don't know if he's played more than one game or not, but yeah, regardless, yeah, it's the right move to send him back down and just let him figure some stuff out. He'll be back up before the end of the year.
Don't kill his confidence. I mean, yeah, kind of echoing what Brooks said. I will say this: the last game that I watched Jackson Holiday play, that's when he had one. I think he went 1 for 4, maybe 1 for 3. And one of the hits he didn't get, he's almost took the pitcher's head off, and it hit him in the hand.
Yeah.
So he was making good contact, but I mean, yeah, don't kill his confidence. Let him get down there, take some ABs, get back up. He'll be back up here soon.
Especially, I think Elias said he specifically projects us in the next month to run up against quite a few lefties more than they usually run into. And if he's not going to be starting against those lefties, I'd rather him get those at bats in AAA every night.
Yeah, Let him go get lefty at bats against lefties in the minors.
Correct. Yeah. And we're not worried about him long term. Look, this kind of thing happens. Gunnar last year struggled when he came up. Adley struggled when he came up. Julio Rodriguez famously struggled when he came up. So this kind of thing will happen with young guys. Other than that, I think baseball wise, Orioles wise, we're good.
Means look good in the last start he had.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit earlier. I mean, I don't know, because we've now said Bradish is returning to the O's, which means somebody's going down. I imagine that's going to be one of the bullpen guys. Does this mean Means is going to be coming up soon? I hope. I mean, he threw almost 100 pitches the other day. So, let's get this rotation filled out and see what we got.
I believe Hyde said that was going to be his last start in AAA. Whether that means he's starting up here soon or he's going to the bullpen, I don't know. I could be getting that mixed up. I thought he said something.
I know that he said that about Bradish, but as far as Means goes, I don't know.
Would you want to see Means as a starter or a bullpen guy?
I prefer him if he can start successfully, yeah. But I mean, if he could come in and be a bullpen guy to start, I don't think that would be I wouldn't have a problem with it at all. I like as many lefties in the bullpen as we can get, but if he comes up as a starter, we can kind of push Cole Irvin to that lefty long reliever role. So I'd prefer to see Means as a starter.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do. This will be interesting to see if they just keep Cole Irvin there and kind of ride the hot hand since he's been pitching well, or let Means start in the bullpen. I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I'm not really sure what Hyde is gonna do here.
I could see Suarez going to the pen.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
He specifically wants to be a starter, so I don't think he'll necessarily be happy about that. But also, he's a guy who didn't pitch in the big leagues for 8 years, and we got him on a vet minimum deal from whatever Korean baseball team he was playing for. So he doesn't really have that much of a say, you know?
Yeah, okay. You go to the bullpen. You want to be in the show, or do you want to go to side pan? Right?
Yeah.
Figure it out.
And I don't want to put words in his mouth. Maybe he will be open to that kind of move. But they've been pretty open about the fact that he wanted to come back as a starter.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah. 4-game set against the Yanks. Let's take 3 out of 4.
Let's take 3 out of 4, baby.
They start tonight.
We've had an inordinate amount of a lot of home games. I mean, I feel like we're going to be on the road for like a month.
Yeah, this kind of thing happened. I feel like, remember last year at the very end of the season, we played like 5 straight series against like the top 5 seeds in the major leagues or something, in the American League or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to have one of those stretches in the middle of the summer. It's going to be brutal. But I mean, look, we just gotta take as many W's from the Yankees as we can right now, and it's a long season. We'll keep grinding, get Kimbrel back healthy and confident, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even like, as a baseball fan, as an Orioles fan, I'm not even looking at the standings yet. After the All-Star break, that's when I'll start looking at, how many games back are what we need to do. Right now, it's about team building. How are we coming together? How are we congealing? That's what I'm looking at. Not standings. I mean,
just going back real quick to something we were touching on earlier. Top 5 American League MVP odds now, as of right now. Juan Soto is 3-1. Bobby Witt Jr. is 4-1. Gunnar Henderson is 6-1. Mike Trout is 8-1, and Yordan Alvarez is 15-1. Adley Rutschman actually 20-1 as well. He's putting together a pretty good start to his season. I think he's hitting over 300 with like 4 homers. His power's starting to come around. So like to see 2 Orioles in the top 10 there.
It looks like we're going to have 3 or 4 All-Stars. I mean, and obviously way too early to start predicting the shit, but it looks like we have 3 or 4 All-Stars on this roster.
Yeah, if not more. I mean, those two I just mentioned, Corbin Burns, Jordan Westberg could get a nod. Colton Cowser could get a nod. I mean, we have a lot of guys starting off the season hot. So
Mountie.
Mounty's Palmer was talking about this on the
pretty
broadcast.
Quiet.
Mounty's
pretty
so
quiet.
He's so underratedly good defensively. He's gotten so much better defensively. It's incredible to watch. The last 3 years, the strides he's made defensively, I've been really impressed.
That's a good point. I mean, a lot of people do not talk about his defense whatsoever, and he does a great job. He hits the ball very well at first base. Good stretches, good footwork on the bag. And it's my area of expertise with first base. I mean, he looks like an all-star first base, all-star caliber defensive first base.
Yep. I think, look, we're all rooting for the O's. Let's go O's against the Yanks tonight. Grayson's pitching, so hopefully he can put up 7 scoreless, and we can lock it down in the bullpen. But I think it's time to move on to the NFL draft. That was this past weekend. Biggest surprise of the first round, immediately, we're going to talk about Michael Penix at number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. So Michael Penix is 24 years old. Kirk Cousins is 34 years old. Kirk Cousins is on a 4-year, $180 million contract with $100 million guaranteed. So they can't get out of this contract that Kirk Cousins has without a dead cap of over $50 million for 3 years. So best case scenario for the Falcons, Michael Penix is going to be sitting on the bench until he's 28 years old and hasn't had any experience in the NFL. Can you please explain to me what in the absolute hell Atlanta is thinking? Anybody got an answer?
I don't know.
Anybody have an answer?
I don't know. Did you see the interaction between the GM and Arthur Blank?
Yes.
It makes me rub my face. It makes me rub my face thinking about it. It's so nauseating.
Like, did he just panic? Did he just get like down on the clock and just panic real quick?
I just don't get it. Look, I understand you want to build for the future, and look, if you have pick 29, or if you have a pick in the second round and you want to make this pick, great. You love Michael Penix, but guess what? You already hitched your wagon to Kirk Cousins, so you don't have the luxury of making this pick. The last 4 first-round picks they've had were Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Pitts, who have all underperformed because they were not utilized properly in the offense. So now you want to build a team with 2 starting quarterbacks as your top 2 assets on the team. I don't understand it. You can't play 2 of them at once.
When was this GM hired?
I have no idea.
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, he played with the Saints under Mickey Loomis. I'll say this. What they basically are saying is that Kirk Cousins can get us to a certain point, but can't get us over the hump. And they believe that Michael Penix can win them a Super Bowl. So they're like, okay, we can probably get to like maybe an NFC Championship game, but we can't win the Super Bowl. That's what I'm reading, because they're thinking they're not going to be able to pick high for the next couple of years and get a quarterback. So they're looking for the future. Phenomenal. You had to pick up this fucker's 5th-year option, and you're not going to know if he can play.
Yeah.
No.
By the time you pick up his 5th-year option, he's going to be almost 30 years old.
Yeah, he's going to look like I'm 50. Come on.
And this is and this is not even mentioning the fact that Penix had 2 season-ending injuries already in college. Like, yeah, he's gotten over them, and he has been healthy for the last few years, and he's a talented passer, which is a lot of people have said that going into this draft. But just based on a team building perspective, it doesn't make any sense to have 2 of your biggest assets be both quarterbacks. I understand having a good number 2 and paying for a good number 2, but with the number 8 overall pick in the draft, they could have done so much to help their team outside of Kirk Cousins or outside of Michael Penix. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it.
I don't know why I'm so emotional and pissed off about it, because I really don't. That's not my team. But what it ends up doing is it makes people not like Michael Penix. And that has he didn't do shit.
It's not his fault.
It's not his fault at all. And people are going to be like, oh, you got to perform. You got to do this. So you're an asshole. He didn't do anything wrong. He just got drafted. That's it.
Same thing with Jordan Love. What happened with Jordan Love?
Yeah.
He got a lot of hate, but I mean, it's not his fault.
But the difference from a team building perspective for Jordan Love is that pick was at number 25. Pick number 25 in the NFL draft and pick number 8 in the NFL draft are separated by like 2 or 3 first-round picks if you want to trade. So it's I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it.
And you have to think about like how much money that draft like slot number 8 is slotted for money too. Like
it's like $50 million. I think it's 50.
Arthur Blank probably came down like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're just spending my money with.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine Terry Fontenot being like, hey, I need $100 million guaranteed to get Kirk Cousins, and I'm going to go draft a quarterback over here who's going to sit on the bench for 3 years? If I'm Arthur Blank, I'm taking a softball bat to my GM's head on live television.
I mean, it's a no-win situation, because if Cousins is good, they're going to get shit for Penix not playing. And if Penix is good, if Cousins gets hurt and Penix is good, then they're going to have to answer the question of why they're paying a backup quarterback $50 million fucking dollars. I just don't understand it. There's no way that the Falcons can win.
They need to be on Hard Knocks. They need to be on Hard Knocks. I want to see that quarterback room. I just want to be in that quarterback room.
Unless they end up trading Kirk Cousins here, like after 2 years or something, and like the plan is to have Penix sit there for 2 years, learn, and then like let's trade Kirk Cousins and maybe send him to somebody who needs a veteran quarterback and get something for him and pick up his contract, then maybe. But that's like the only. I mean, that's going to take a lot of luck probably to have that situation work out. Yeah, but he can. Sure, but he can waive it.
Yeah, but the problem is they're going to have to get somebody to take some of that contract, because their dead cap hit, if they move him in the first 3 years, is going to be completely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's going to be the same thing with like that happened with Rodgers when he went to the Jets. It's going to have to be the same situation.
Same thing. Russell Wilson and the Broncos are going to be dealing with the Russell Wilson contract this year. They just have a $35 million just dead hit. They just don't get that cap money.
You're going to learn a lot about Kirk Cousins in this, because everyone fell in love with Kirk Cousins on the quarterback series on Netflix because he's such a family man, religious, awesome. Apparently, everything is this awesome human being. If I'm him, I'm going, well, 1, what the hell? And 2, trade me. Get me out of here. Send me to the Rams. Send me to Seattle. Send me somewhere else. Get me the hell out of here, because you guys have obviously no idea what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed. And then that interview that they had with the GM and the coach, and I give those guys credit for asking them like the questions that they did, but like they didn't have good answers, to be honest with you.
There is no good answer,
and they just look like clowns. And they basically said, "Yeah, well, I mean, Kurt was. I'm not gonna air it out," but then basically said Kurt was a little surprised. It's like, dumbass. Maybe you should have had a conversation with him if this was actually your plan. But I just think
I love that. They were like, "What was his reaction?" They were like, "Oh, we'll keep that private," which means he was pissed. Because if it was a positive one, they were like, "He's real." No, stupid.
I mean, realistically, Kurt's not going to lose that job. Like, I don't think Penix is going to outplay him, so he's not that worried. But I'd still be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on to the rest of the draft. I wanted to rant about that. I know you guys wanted to let loose a little bit on that too. I think it's so fucking stupid. I think it's one of the craziest picks I've ever seen. When they announced it, I was like, my jaw dropped to the floor. I couldn't believe it.
The audible gasp in the Detroit fans. I mean, these are Detroit fans. They don't give a fuck about it anymore. And they were like,
they're like, that's something we would have done a couple years ago.
Bears stick at picks 1 and 9 and get Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze out of Washington. 2 of the top 7 players on pretty much every draft analyst's board. They add this to an offense that already has Keenan Allen, that already has DJ Moore. Cole Kmet on a $50 million contract. I think the Bears are putting together a legitimate offense. If Caleb Williams hits, then I think they're going to be a pretty good team in the NFC North next year. What do you guys think about them?
I'm very, very lukewarm on Caleb Williams. And the only reason I say this is I did watch a couple people on television talk about when he played NFL caliber defenses or schemes, NFL caliber schemes last year, he struggled mightily. And that's going to be every game in the NFL. Basically, he can't decipher like coverage changes and things of that nature in those 2 games. Now, it's a small sample size, but he's going to learn, and he seems like a knowledgeable kid, and he's passionate about football. But the Bears did a great job. They did exactly what they should have done.
Yep.
Yeah, I would be, if I were a Bears fan, I'd be happy with this for sure. They did a great job bringing in Sweat last year too, and that's I mean, from all intents and purposes, from what I've heard, like just bringing in Sweat has just instilled a culture in there, and the culture that Eberflus, and he's a defensive guy that was looking to have. So it seems like everything's on the up and up. So this is not that I would ever be an NFL GM, but I mean, this would probably be the way I would have went if I were looking at the draft. Unless I was going to trade back and get shore up the offensive line, but they might, depending on how Odunze works out. I mean, their receiving core looks pretty ridiculous right now. So
yeah,
the biggest question mark is the coach.
It's hard to say. It's only been there for 2 years.
Yeah, if that. I mean, it's interesting. I think Bears fans are just excited for Caleb. Even if he just turns out to be okay, that would be a win for the Bears. They've never had a passer throw from more than 3,800 yards, which is insane. They've never had a passer throw for more than 30 touchdowns, which is insane. I think there's a legitimate chance Caleb Williams could do that on his rookie contract multiple times. If he turns out to be good and all these weapons he has, Keenan Allen's is number 3 for Christ's sake. I mean, they're going to be a really good team. That's a really good offense.
Well, let's not put a Dunze in front of him yet.
Remember who the Bears went to the Super Bowl with? As quarterback?
Sexy Rex Grossman.
Rex Grossman.
Yeah.
Dude,
Rex
so
Grossman.
I was thinking about Florida. I was thinking about this the other day. Have the Bears ever had a good quarterback? I mean, I know you're going to say probably McMahon, but I mean,
Jay Cutler
wasn't Jay Cutler. I mean, they've never had a superstar quarterback, which is nuts to me.
Never had a good quarterback.
I know, from such a historic organization, that just kind of blows my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
There's some quarterback that's ridiculous. It's like really old.
Oh, is it like Y.A. Tittle or something like that?
I'm not going to classify him.
They have yeah. Since the Civil War, they have not had a good quarterback. Jaden Daniels goes at number 2 to DC to the Commodores. New England gets Drake May at 3. They stick and pick at 3. A lot of people had him at number 1 on their draft board. Bri, what do you got? You're raising your hand.
Sid Luckman. There's your Bears quarterback of all time.
Sid Luckman. Household name, Sid Luckman. is the best quarterback in the history.
Know exactly who that is.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Keep going, Dusty. Keep going.
No, you're good.
You're really showing your age.
Yeah. I think the biggest story is the six quarterbacks in the first 12 picks, which is an NFL draft record by a mile. J.J. McCarthy also goes to the Vikings at number 10. Broncos get Bo Nix at number 12. First defensive player drafted not until number 15, which I think the previous record was number 12. Do you think this is a good trend? Do you think this is just the happenstance based on how the draft fell, the talent in the draft? What do you guys think?
Brooks, you go ahead, Bob.
From everything that I watched, it just seemed like there was just a ton more. There's a lot better offensive players than there were defensive players. I mean, I think they set the record for most offensive players drafted in the first round as well, just total. But I mean, it's not going to always work out this way. I think it's just the way it worked out. And then a lot of times when people get on like these trains of like a receiver goes and then another receiver goes, and I feel like the team after that's like the team after that, or our team's going to try to trade up and be like, all right, fuck, receivers are starting to fly. Let's trade up and get the guy we want, or let's take the guy we want. So I think it's just how the draft fell. I don't think this is going to be like the norm.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with Brooks on this one. I think this is a trend that's going to continue. And the reason being is offense pays. I would not want to be a defensive player if I was a kid. You get fined, you get ejected from games, targeting. I think this is going to be something that you're going to continue to see. These athletes are going to be on the offensive side of the ball and not the defensive side of the ball. So I think this is going to be – the game is so geared toward offense now.
Yep. Yeah, and they said there was a lack of like defensive end talent this year too, so that's probably a lot to do with it as well, because that's really the superstar position on the defensive side. So
yeah, if you're going to take a defensive player in the top 10, it's going to be a crazy freak interior pass rusher or an edge rusher. For the most part, corners and safeties and linebackers do not get drafted that high. They're not valued. Those positions are not valued that high. Corners sometimes, if it's like a stud, but
I actually enjoyed the Byron Murphy pick.
I agree.
He looks like I'm not comparing him to Aaron Donald, but he's a smaller guy, but he's powerful as hell. And that interior pressure is almost as important. It is as important as the edge pressure. Getting right in someone's face.
Well, they're starting to get jump in pay too, like getting closer to defensive end pay too. So it's obviously becoming more important to these teams and coaches and stuff as well. So
yeah. I do want to mention quickly before we move off of the quarterbacks, I think I don't think necessarily that J.J. McCarthy is a great prospect. I do think that he fell into the best situation he possibly could have. As a 21-year-old guy, super young, doesn't have to start right away because they have Sam Darnold on a 1-year contract. They have a good coach. He proved it. He has good offensive weapons. They have a good offensive line. I think this is best case scenario for a guy like McCarthy, who I think a lot of people comp to Brock Purdy, kind of a game manager, Alex Smith, not going to win you games, but not going to lose you games kind of guy. But look, a guy who's 21 years old, doesn't have to start right away, gets all these weapons. I think this is a great fit for him.
Fun fact, and I agree with you with everything you just said there, Dusty. Fun fact, Bo Nix, shortest name ever drafted in the first round. 5 letters.
Wow, look at that. That's crazy.
His real name is Bo because his parents went to Auburn. So they loved Bo Jackson.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's not a stat that I've ever thought about or heard before. That's awesome. I mean, there was a big story Schefter put out about Sean Payton was going to turn in the pick for Patrick Mahomes at number 10 back in 2019 or whatever year it was. I can't remember when Mahomes got drafted, and then he couldn't get the guy because KC jumped him in the draft. Bo Nix is not fucking Patrick Mahomes. And if he turns out to be, then I'll eat crow for sure. I'll take 80 pies in the face. But this guy, he's 24 years old. He obviously got better for sure in college he got better. At Auburn, he was almost unwatchable. By the end of Oregon, he was one of the most accurate passers in college football, but he's not throwing down the field a ton. He's a smaller guy. I don't know if he's necessarily going to start for the Broncos right away. I guess we'll find out, but he's 24, so they might give him a shot. I can't remember if they have any other options there other than Zach Wilson, who they just traded for, who's also not great. But yeah, I don't know. Did you guys take anything from this pick?
No.
No, I was surprised. I was surprised to hear how much Sean Payton liked him from watching him and doing his research. But I mean, that's why they get paid the big bucks, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say about it, but I just that I was surprised by how much he loved him.
And this is Sean Payton's all in. This is right now. You have your team. This is you. If you screw it up, the Walmart people are going to kick you to the curb. They don't give a damn. They made more money during this podcast to fire you and not worry about your contract.
It's true. It's sad. It's true.
It is. So they don't give a shit. And so this is your team. You rock and fire, and let's see what you got. This is going to see if you're a genius.
Yep.
Yeah. I do want to mention the first defensive player that did go off the board, Leatu Latu, edge out of UCLA, was forced to medically retire from football in 2020, 2021 due to like a nerve issue. He had nerve damage in his neck. And he kept on seeking different specialists, trying to get more opinions. And he found some treatment or some doctor who reevaluated him and cleared him to play. And in the last 2 years, he's been the best edge rush prospect in football. He probably would have been one of those guys who would have been a top 10 edge rush prospect, but the medical scared the shit out of so many teams. So that's why he dropped to 15. This is a guy that if he can stay on the field could be a game wrecker.
This is pretty funny that the Colts people in India are a little bit up in arms about it. It's just kind of funny that they drafted him with like the issues that he has or had when they straight up cut Peyton Manning for the same kind of issue.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure they know a lot more medically now and blah, blah, blah. So, but that's just, you just hear the old school Colts people out here. If you don't know, I live in Indianapolis now. So if you're listening, but yeah, they seem a lot of people here. I mean, I saw people on Facebook that I'm friends with from Indy saying like fire Ryan Ballard right now or Chris Ballard right now.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's a freak. He's a freak athlete. He's a super stud. I mean, these guys with medicals coming out of college are always super scary for NFL teams. But sometimes you got to take a chance on the athlete, and they're picking at number 15. It's not like they're picking in the top 10. So they have the flexibility to kind of make this kind of decision. And also in the second round, they picked Adonai Mitchell out of Texas, who's also another freak athlete who I think could be a big hit for them. So I just kind of like the Colts draft.
I love the Colts GM coming out and just saying what he said. I mean, there's expletives all over this damn interview.
Dude, he doesn't hold back.
Yeah.
I'm sure Irsay fucking loves him.
Yeah.
Him and Irsay are probably two peas. 7 wide receivers taken in the first round too.
Who's your favorite receiver out of this draft?
I mean, so there was a clear-cut top 3: Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze. A lot of people comp Odunze to like a Devontae Adams type guy, really good route runner, really good at the catch point. Malik Neighbors is just a crazy, like, freak athlete, can create separation from any corner, can run away from any corner. And Marvin Harrison is just kind of a conglomerate of everything. He's just good at everything across the board, with the exception of vertically, he's elite, I would say. So that's why he was the number 1 receiver taken. I would say of the 3, definitely Harrison is the most complete receiver prospect based on everything I've heard and seen. But I wouldn't be surprised if Neighbors or Odunze put up video game type numbers in their rookie contracts either. Clear top 3 though. After that, I would say it's more of a dart throw.
My favorite is Leggett, just by listening to him talk. He sounds like Farmer Fran.
He doesn't say anything.
He sounds like Farmer Fran.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the Ravens. Yeah. Sorry, Brooks. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want to talk about the Ravens draft a little bit. The first round pick, before the draft, before the Ravens took him, I said he's like if Deshaun Jackson played corner. He's tiny. He's super fast, crazy great feet, but he's not going to be tackling. He's going to be making a lot of business decisions out there, letting people kind of go past him in the first couple years. But he's 173 pounds, which by NFL standards is a fucking pipsqueak. He needs to grow into his body a little bit, but EDC was just basically saying, EDC, for those of you who don't know, is the Ravens GM, Eric DaCosta. He basically said, look, we had him at number 20 on our board. We picked at number 30 and he was still there. So we just took him. That's what they do. They take best player available. I think they did it later in the draft. In the second round, we got this tackle out of Washington. Hasn't allowed a sack in the last 2 years. He's 6'5", 308. He's going to be our right tackle start this year.
Well, that was a need.
Yeah, absolutely. We draft for need. Go ahead, Brian.
I really love the tackle pick. And the reason I like the tackle pick is because he was the tackle for Penix. Penix is a lefty. So he was legitimately, in this instance, he was the left tackle. He was protecting the blind side.
He was the blind side guy. Yep.
So, I mean, you basically got a left tackle, but at right tackle, if that makes any sense.
Yep. And after Stanley plays his 65% of whatever snaps he plays this year, and we get rid of his contract, he can move over to left tackle maybe next year. We'll see how that goes. But I like getting plug-and-play starters in the second round, especially on the offensive line, especially in a place where we desperately need starting help.
Can I also say, Washington University, or University of Washington, had a great draft. I want to say
a lot of studs.
10 players went, and I think they went back-to-back Washington players at one point in the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Penix and Adunze.
Yeah.
Yep. Penix and Adunze went 8 and 9. Yeah.
I love this too, just because offensive line is the highest percentage of those players to hit in the draft out of any other position in there.
Yeah.
And the worst is wide receiver.
Yeah.
And most of the big time wide receivers that we see that have been getting these big time contracts recently and that are some of the best in the league are not first round picks. So, I am more than happy taking wide receivers later on in the draft, especially with a deeper draft class for wide receiver, as they say. We'll see how that actually ends up panning out here in the future. But yeah, I love the pick. It was a need, and if it was their best available, I mean, that just lines up perfectly. Also think it was pretty interesting that we took a center later on. I'm just assuming he's probably not going to play center since we probably have one of the best, if not the best center in the league right now. But yeah, it's
I mean, worst case scenario, he's a 7th round pick. If he turns out to be a backup, I think that's a valuable pick. He was a guy from Michigan. It's the first time the Ravens have ever drafted a player out of Michigan State, by the way, which is crazy. I couldn't believe that. But yeah, 7th round center, Nick Samak. He missed last year because he broke his leg or something like that. But before that, he had started like 33 straight games for Michigan State. So good plug and play backup if we ever need him.
Or he's going to slide.
Or he's going to slide to guard. Maybe, who knows? Real quick, we'll go through the rest of the draft. We got an outside linebacker, edge rusher, Adisa Isaac out of Penn State. I can't stand Penn State, but we have taken some good athletes out of Penn State in the past. He's close friends with Odafe Owe, who actually helped recruit him to Penn State, who's one of our big-time edge rushers now. 6'4", 250, so good size, good length for the position. He outperformed Chop Robinson, who went in the first round to the Dolphins, who was the other edge rusher who got drafted from Penn State. He had more sacks, more pressures, doesn't profile as quite the athlete that Chop Robinson does. That's why he slid down the board. And once again, a lot of people thought he was a great round 2 kind of guy, and we got him in round 3 at the very end of round 3. So this is just Beautiful. What the Ravens do. Those guys who are sliding down the board and are the best available for like 20 straight picks in a row, we're just going to take them. That's what we're going to do. And usually it works out.
Penn
Same
State's
thing.
if Penn State's got all these freaking edge rushers, why does their defense suck? Why don't they win more?
Their defense doesn't suck. Their offense sucks.
James Franklin, what the fuck are you doing then, man? I mean, you got all these great defensive players. Get a goddamn quarterback. All right, just win a game.
It's hard. It's hard to win. I love it. I love watching the Penn State fans get really excited for them to get into the top 10 when they're 5-0 every year, and then they lose 3 straight games to Michigan and Ohio State and some bullshit team because they don't care.
Wear all your white shit, who cares, and then you get smoked by Ohio State.
I love it. It's great. Keep doing it. Keep doing it all you want, James Franklin. Keep losing. Go 10-2 every year. Love it. TJ Tampa. A lot of people thought he could be a second, third round kind of guy, 6 foot 195, but he ran slow. He didn't have a good combine, so he kind of fell down the board. We got him in the late part of the 4th round. He's another corner, could move back to safety, versatile dude. And this dude, Ted Walker from North Carolina, was Drake May's favorite target. He's 6'1", 195, ran a 4.36 40, which is real fast for that size, and he has a vertical over 40 inches. He's super raw, but he's got real big upside, so I like taking a shot on him. He's probably going to be like our number 4 or 5 receiver.
Yeah.
So not going to be as much.
Steve Smith Sr. was really, really high on this kid. He really gave him some high praise about how he works. So I'm coming from Steve Smith, Ice Up son, coming from him, who was a hard worker. I appreciate it. It puts a little bit behind it.
Yeah, and I know he literally said that he looked at every single receiver in this draft this year and looked at everybody's film and put a lot of effort into the grading. So I respect his opinion even more, especially since I know how much he probably put into this year's draft, because people were talking shit about last couple of years when he was saying stuff, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to make sure I'm correct on all these. So
yeah. Moving on from the Ravens specifically, I want to get to some stuff that happened around the NFL this week.
Mm-hmm.
Since we last recorded, Zach Wilson traded to the Broncos. They swapped late round picks, a 6th and a 7th or something like that. The picks don't really matter in this instance. I wanted to bring this up specifically for this thing I saw on ESPN.com from Rich Cimini. This trade means that only one of the 5 quarterbacks selected in the first round of 2021 will remain on their original team. Trevor Lawrence, who was the number 1 overall pick, is the only one that is still on his original team. Number 2 overall was Zach Wilson. He is now with the Broncos. Number 3 overall was Trey Lance. He is now with the Cowboys. Number 11 overall was Justin Fields. He is now with the Steelers. Number 15 overall was Mac Jones. He's now with the Jaguars. So the 6 quarterbacks taken in the top 12 this year doesn't necessarily mean that 6 teams have found their franchise guys. These are dart throws. And really only like 33%, if that, hit. So, I mean, you could see 4 or 5 of these guys in the next 3 years, if we're still talking on this podcast, could be on different teams, starting maybe out of the league.
This just shows you that NFL scouts are meteorologists. I mean, they are just guessing what the weather's going to be.
When it comes to quarterbacks specifically, it's pretty much impossible to nail the quarterbacks.
Well, quarterbacks and wide receivers, they say wide receivers are harder. For whatever, just because of the whatever the rate is that they came up with. But yeah, it's hard. It's also hard to say, like, how are they going to react now that they have money? Are they going to keep working? I mean, they say it's harder to wake up in the morning when you're sleeping on satin sheets now, right? So but I mean, that could also be the counter argument there, is that these guys are now getting paid in college. So if they're doing it now while they got a little bit of money, maybe that's going to translate. So that trend might change just because of that. We'll see. I don't really know, but I mean, it's still really hard to guess how these guys are going to work out. And plus injuries are roll of the dice too. So
going back to something we were talking about earlier, with the offensive players getting taken at such a high rate, 6 quarterbacks and 7 receivers, that's 13, almost half of the first round picks. The hit rate is so low, but also it's so important to get these guys on rookie contracts now that I think that the GMs are going to be starting to draft these guys higher just specifically because of that. So, like, if you look, for example, something we're going to talk about in a little bit, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was a 5th round, like, darling who came out and just completely killed it his first 2 years. Now he's getting paid $30 million a year, 4-year, $120 million extension. So it's increasingly important to get these guys on rookie contracts because $30 million a year for a receiver that's a lot of freaking money. I mean, Justin Jefferson's going to get $35 million. So getting these guys on rookie contracts, I think that's probably why you're going to start seeing a lot of these offensive players get drafted in the first round.
I agree. I mean, there's nothing else to say there. And what you're also starting to see now is people, by people I mean teams, signing their receivers or their quarterbacks earlier. Left tackle, we're going to get into Penny. I can't say his last name, Sewell or whatever. Yeah. I mean, you're starting to see these guys get signed earlier because the teams understand that the numbers are just going to keep going up. And so you want to sign them now, get them for $30 million instead of $38 million 4 years down the road.
Yeah, it's a smart play just because, the salary cap's just going to keep going up with the popularity, and now that the leagues get taking this to South America and wherever else they're going to end up going, the salary cap's going to keep growing. So obviously the salaries are going to keep going up, or what they're asking for is going to keep going up. So if you get them now, you're kind of hedging it twice, right? I mean, you're hedging it because you got them at today's price, not the inflated price in 2 years, and you save yourself in the salary cap as it inevitably goes up the next 2 years. So it's a smart play.
Yeah, and I want to say this: I hate people that talk to me, at the bar or wherever the hell we are. They're like, "Oh, the salary cap's going up, so there's more money for them to have." These agents are not fucking stupid, so they're going to be like, "Okay, you still get
it's going to go percentage of the salary cap.
18% of your salary. I'm making up a random number. These agents are going to come and go, okay, I don't give a damn that your salary cap went up $27 million from last year. I want a higher rate for my player now because you have more money to spend.
Yeah, I mean, if they're paying, go ahead, sorry,
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, so random number, right? If whatever X position is making right now, like the highest paid X position is making, say, 10% of the salary cap, whatever it, I'm just making up numbers because I don't know them off the top of my head. I mean, obviously, if it's going to be 10% with a higher salary cap, that number goes up. I mean, simple math, right? So
you see a lot of these contracts, and you do see a lot of these contracts. I haven't seen Amon-Ra St. Brown's exact contract, but I would imagine that his 4 years average $30 million is probably going to be $22 million, and then $25 million, and then $27 million, and then $30-some million again. And that's why the contracts are set that way, and that's why you get all of these reworking contracts and extensions.
Yeah, they said the third year, I think, is the big year. I think is what I heard.
So, for example, right now, as of recording, Lamar Jackson's third year of his extension, he's going to be costing us $65 million against the salary cap. Obviously, they're going to rework that.
Yeah.
And that's going to be something different. But like if we actually had to eat $65 million for one player out of the $275 million available salary cap, that's almost 25% of the cap, or if not more. I can't do the math in my head. Probably is 25%. So it's going to be, the contracts are just going to keep getting more lucrative, and you're just going to have to start realizing that a $35 million a year contract is what a $20 million a year contract used to be, just because there's such an influx of money coming into all these leagues.
Yeah, and they're just all going to get reworked too. I mean, you look, if San Francisco ends up reworking this deal or working this deal out with Ayuk, I mean, they've already paid Debo. They're just going to have to start restructuring around it. So I mean, basically, it's probably taking longer right now is because they have to go to all these other guys and say, hey, if we sign, do you want Ayuk on your team? I need to restructure you and give you. I mean, who's not going to want to take cash right now, right?
They didn't draft that wide receiver because they want to keep Ayuk and Debo.
Yeah,
one of them's getting something, or it's a leverage play. It's a leverage play for them to go into the room and be like, "Hey, we drafted this young kid who's on a rookie contract. We're going to ship you to Seattle."
Yeah.
Like if you want to play ball, we can play ball and we can have the best receiver room on the planet, or you can leave and this guy can replace you.
Yeah.
A couple other things I want to get to real quick. Talia Tagovailoa, Tua's brother, who played quarterback at Maryland, signed as an undrafted free agent with Seattle Seahawks. He's going to participate in the rookie camp. They already have Geno Smith and Sam Howell, so unless they're planning on keeping 3 quarterbacks on the roster, I don't think he's going to be making that much noise. But I did want to mention it. Did want to mention it because he's a hometown guy. He's dirt. Zeke Elliott, as of this morning, has signed a deal with the Cowboys. I think it's a 1-year deal, so he's going to be reuniting with the Cowboys after his one-year stint. I think it was just 1 year with New England. Obviously, the Cowboys lost Tony Pollard. They signed Royce Freeman, but other than that, they pretty much have no running back depth on the roster. Ezekiel Elliott knows the place, knows the culture, knows the playbook already, so he's a plug-and-play guy.
I'd love to know what this contract ends up being. I still haven't seen anything
it's
on it. It's
probably not going to be much based on running back
like
history.
What, $8 million?
If that, I would bet 4 million probably.
Yeah, I was going to go there 4.
Okay.
Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson asked for a trade. He's the second Bengals player this offseason to ask for a trade after T. Higgins did earlier this year. The GM has come out and said that Trey Hendrickson will be a Bengal this year, but we know from past history that any GM is just saying whatever they're going to say. Who knows if he's going to end up staying, but it seems like not a lot of people want to be Bengals right now.
What the hell is going on there?
Cincinnati. What the hell you think? I mean, it stinks. It stinks. They had to pay Joe Burrow.
Yeah. And their chili sucks. You give it to you with noodles.
Yeah, fuck Skyline.
It's actually just spaghetti. It's not actually chili.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't want cinnamon in my chili.
Eagles extended after last week. We talked about they extended Devontae Smith for 3 years, 75. They gave AJ Brown another extension, 3 years, 96. Just next man up. He wants to be the highest paid player in the league, so he's just going to keep getting extended until he keeps that title, I guess. $84 million is guaranteed, so a ton of this contract, like 90% of it is guaranteed. He's a huge part of their offense. I understand it. He's a freak athlete, but they're paying their 2 receivers now $50 million. They're paying Jalen Hurts $50 million. That's a year. It seems like they're paying 3 guys 60% of their salary cap. So we'll see how this works out for them. But they draft so well and they develop talent really well. So I'm not worried about them as from a franchise perspective. Do you have any thought? You guys have any thoughts on them?
No, I kind of going off that. I want to compliment the Eagles. Brooks, do you want to say something on this topic before we move on?
Nope.
No. All right. I want to compliment the Eagles. I think the Eagles are such a great organization, how they develop talent, how they draft. I love their pick. I can't say his name, Quinton Mitchell or whatever it was.
Quinyon Mitchell, Toledo.
Yeah. They just do such a great job of drafting, and then they sign their players in advance. And it seems like they take care of their players. Now, Nick Sirianni might be a twat, but whatever. They just do a great – Howie Roseman, they do such a good job of running an organization. They remind me a lot of the Ravens. Yeah. I love their pick. I love the way they run their room.
I love the way they run the room. I think they had a real big struggle last year because they lost after their Super Bowl run where they lost to the Chiefs 2 years ago. They lost both their offensive and defensive coordinators, got head coaching jobs elsewhere. Defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon went to Arizona, and their offensive coordinator Shane Steichen went to the Colts. And then this year they hired 2 new guys. They didn't work out. Both of them got fired. Oh, we lost Brooksy. That's all right. So both of their offensive defensive coordinators got fired. They're having their 3rd new offense, their 3rd new defense installed in 3 years, which I can't imagine is great. But the fact that from a personnel perspective, I think Howie Roseman does a really good job. Does a really good job with them. And
they took Georgia's offense or defensive line and moved it to Philadelphia. That's what they did.
100%. Yeah, they took Keely Ringo and they took Nolan Smith too. They got linebackers, they got corners, they got everyone. And they also got 2 first-round talent defensive backs in this draft. Quinyon Mitchell was one of the top couple cornerbacks in the draft. They got him at number 22. They got Cooper DeJean Cooper DeGino, Iowa, who everyone thought was going to be a first-round guy. He's a corner, safety, nickel kind of guy. They got him at number 40. They traded up to get him. Not a lot of comps for white defensive backs in the NFL right now. Might have been the reason he fell down the board. But
who's the first white defensive back you think of? Go.
Jim Leonard.
Jason Sehorn. That's the one I was going.
There you go. Jim Leonard's now coordinator for Wisconsin, by the way.
Yeah. I agree with you. Brooks, this is beautiful. I don't have any technological problems today, and you do. This is fantastic. This makes me very happy.
The Roth children. What's going on, Brooks? What happened?
I hit the wrong button.
Oh, okay. I've been there.
Shit happens. It happens.
We touched on this earlier. Sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
Fill me in on this Tank Dell thing. What's going on here?
Tank Dell got shot.
Thanks.
Crazy story. I guess he was at some bar, some restaurant in. I think he's from Daytona. It was like 40 minutes from there. I can't remember exactly what the town is called. But anyway, he was at some bar or restaurant, and some fist fight. There was a fist fight broke out. I don't know if he started it, if he was involved in it, or if he was just in the crowd trying to break it up. And apparently, some teenage kid, 16 years old, pulled out a gun and just started fucking shooting. Nobody got killed. 10 people got injured. And the 16-year-old is in custody. He is arrested. Apparently, Tank Dell didn't even spend the night in the hospital. It was a minor wound. So I'm assuming he just got grazed or something like that. But really scary. NFL rookie breakout guy last year, just getting shot at a bar in Daytona, Florida. Crazy. I mean, what are you going to do? He was just at a bar, at a restaurant, whatever. Like I said, more details could come out. He could have been the guy who started the fight or something, but that's not what the information we have now. You know what I mean? So it just, as of right now, it just looks like he just got super unlucky and he's just in this for no reason. Obviously, we don't want to see this kind of stuff happen. Not really much we can talk about.
Before we move on to golf, we got to do That's a Shame segment.
Oh, that's a shame. I saw Anthony Rendon is going to be on the long-term injured list now because his hamstring is hurting him too much.
That's a shame.
That is a shame.
The capital season. Goodbye. That's a shame.
Oh yeah. Swept in 4 games. That is a shame. What do we think this means for the Caps moving forward? Do you think Ovechkin's got a couple more years left? What do we think we're gonna try to kind of tear it down and rebuild? What do we think for the Caps moving forward?
Ovi's already said that he's playing the rest of his contract and that's it. So he's basically got 2 years left. So plenty of time for him to break the record and be done.
Yeah, I don't know the contract situations of a bunch of these guys, so I can't speak knowledgeably on anything. But if I was running the organization, it's time to break down and restart. You need to do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Backstrom's on that leave of absence still because of his injury, and it seems like it's probably going to be career ending.
Oshie's run his course.
Yeah, Oshie's getting older. Carlson's getting older. Wilson's the only stable thing there, really, I guess. And I mean, it's hard when would they have 6 rookies on the roster? I think they were playing with.
Yeah,
because of all the injuries and stuff. So
number of rookies, but only like 3 or 4 were worth a damn.
Yeah.
I don't.
Or just not ready. Yeah.
Rough. If you watched any of the series against the Rangers, you could tell immediately in every game the Rangers were just bigger, faster, stronger than us, and they were the number 1 seed in the East for a reason. They won the President's Trophy. They had the best record in the NHL. So obviously a great team. We kind of backed our asses into the playoffs somehow. So yeah, that's a shame for the Caps.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about golf this weekend, just because I think the Zurich Classic is an underrated event. I know a lot of people probably didn't watch it. I don't know if you guys watched it, but it's cool to get a team event in golf. It's cool to get different formats in golf because there's so many different cool ways you can play golf, and the PGA Tour doesn't utilize hardly any of them. They don't even do match play anymore after getting rid of the WGC Dell tournament that has been going on. But yeah, it's cool. They do best ball, better ball, whatever you want to call it. The two players play their hole out, and whoever has the better score, that's the score they take. They do that for the first and third rounds, and then the second and fourth rounds they do alternate shot. So that's how they set up the tournament. And Rory McIlroy, for the first time he's ever played in this tournament, teamed up with Shane Lowry. They got the Irish connection, and he won. They won.
How do they pick the teams in this? Do the guys just get together and agree on it, or
the top golfers in the world all get a chance to have a team basically, and then they get to pick their guys. Any qualified PGA Tour card holding guy they can pick. So, for example, Matt Fitzpatrick chose his little brother Alex, who just got onto the PGA Tour. Nicholas Højgaard, who was competing at the Masters a couple of weeks ago, picked his brother, who's just starting off kind of on the Euro Tour. So they can pretty much pick whoever they want as long as they're a qualified player. And so obviously Rory, first time he played in this tournament, was going to choose his fellow Irishman in Shane Lowry, and they won. Crazy that Shane Lowry hasn't won a tournament since 2019 when he won the British Open. I couldn't believe that. It seems like he's always around the hoop, but he hasn't scored. It's crazy. He since has won on the European Tour, I think, several times, and he's competed in 2 Ryder Cups, including their win. So it's not like he hasn't been around, but
he's been a big Ryder Cup guy. Like he's done very well in the Ryder Cup. So that's why I always feel like he's won, but I guess he hasn't.
Yeah. So he's one of those guys always around the hoop, just hard to win, man.
Those Irishmen seem to do that. So, for example, like Scotty Scheffler, number 1 in the world, does he just get the number 1 overall pick? Is that kind of how this works? I don't
know. I don't know if they pick like in order, some order. I think it's almost like you get paired.
Because like, what if 2 guys want like somebody, and then I wonder who. I guess they got to agree to whoever.
I don't know. I think it's like when you're in elementary school and the teacher says pair off into groups and everyone just kind of looks at each other and picks. You know what I mean? I don't know exactly if that's how it works, but I think it's really cool that they do this. So that's the only reason I wanted to bring it up. And it's also Rory's 25th career PGA Tour win, which is a huge milestone. So I wanted to write that in there. But upcoming golf schedule, we have this week the Byron Nelson, which used to be known as the AT&T Byron Nelson Classic, now is known as the CJ Cup at Byron Nelson. That's going to be in the outskirts of Dallas. It's in McKinney, Texas. Defending champion there is Jason Day. So we'll see. I think the biggest name we have in the field this week is Spieth. He's a Texas guy, so he usually plays in this tournament.
Did Meredith have her damn baby yet?
I actually don't know.
Because I don't think
I know Scotty Scheffler's not going to be playing in this tournament regardless. The next 2 tournaments after that are an elevated event, Wells Fargo, and that's at Quail Hollow, and that's one of the bigger tournaments on tour every year. Wyndham Clark won that last year, right before he won the U.S. Open. And then the week after that is Valhalla, Louisville, Kentucky, the PGA Championship, and the defending champion there is Brooks Koepka. And we're going to see if Koepka can continue to just completely dominate the PGA Championship. We're going to see if Jordan Spieth can win his Grand Slam. That's the only one he's never won. So yeah, this week the Byron Nelson, not a huge tournament, but the next 2 weeks after that, huge golf tournaments coming up. I have in the other stuff, Caps get swept by the Rangers. We already discussed that. Reggie Bush gets his Heisman back. What do we think about this, guys?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And apparently, one of the coaches that was at USC at the same time Reggie Bush was there, they have emails, and apparently the NCAA said some malicious stuff against both Reggie Bush and this coach. I can't remember. It was like a running backs coach or something like that. So Reggie Bush at all time, throughout this entire process, knew he was getting his Heisman back. And it just seems like the NCAA is an absolute worthless organization.
Oh, yeah. Terrible.
They seem to do that on a regular basis. They seem to make an ass out of themselves on a regular basis. So,
Yeah,
Good for them. Good for him.
Good for the NCAA for finally doing something good. Yeah. Reggie Bush is one of the most exciting players in the history of college football, and he absolutely deserves to have that marked down in history books. So
and
good
give
for Reggie
USC
Bush.
Give USC their wins back. Give Pete Carroll his wins back. Put the national title back. We all saw it. It happened. He took a loan and didn't pay back the loan guy. That's it. That's all he did. He didn't kill anybody. He just took a loan. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, we have plenty of athletes out there doing way worse things than Reggie Bush ever did. All he did was take some money to provide for his family. I do not have any problems with what he did. I think it's ridiculous that it took this long. It's been almost 20 years. I'm glad he got
Simpson killed 2 people and still kept his Heisman.
Yep.
Think about that for a moment.
I gotta give a round of applause and shout out to Johnny Manziel.
What a Johnny Manziel.
He kind of led the charge on this. He started off. I mean, he's the one who kind of brought it up. And
Did you hear how it went down? Like how Reggie Bush got his Heisman back that day?
I did not.
They were having a Heisman summit. Where California? It was somewhere. Florida.
Heisman summit.
They had a Heisman summit. It was actually where the PGA Tour headquarters is, Ponte Verde, whatever. How do you say that?
I know Tebow was there.
Yeah, like there were a bunch of Heisman Trophy winners there, and they were having like a luncheon or something like that. And Reggie Bush walks in and gets his Heisman back, and none of them knew that he was going to be there. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That is pretty cool. I think the Heisman Summit thing is weird. That sounds like some Illuminati organization kind of thing.
It sounds like they're planning their next State Farm commercial or Allstate commercial, whatever the hell that is, in the Heisman House. You know, it's
they're probably filming it. Yeah.
Eating them
up. I wanted to mention too, Caitlin Clark, 8-year, $28 million with Nike. Good for her. She got paid. Yeah. She deserves it. She put women's basketball on the map. And she got drafted by the Indy Fever, and I'm sure Brooks is going to be able to go see her play for the Indy Fever in the next few years.
Hopefully. And if you want to go see her boyfriend, he conveniently transferred to Butler.
Oh, did he? McCaffrey's son? Wow. She was dating McCaffrey's son, who's the head men's basketball coach at Iowa. I can't believe that. So he transferred to Butler, huh?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Can anyone confirm this, or did anyone read anything on this about she sold more jerseys, Indiana Fever jerseys, than the Cowboys did last year?
Didn't hear that. If she did, then
that's
Jesus.
Big.
I heard it from
big time money.
I heard it from 2 people who have no reason to lie. I haven't read anything on it or haven't looked it up yet, but apparently she sold more Indiana jerseys than the Dallas Cowboys sold last year, which I hope that's true because that's awesome for women's sports.
Yeah. Awesome. For her.
Yeah.
For all of the WNBA, if that's the case.
Holy shit.
Once again, if you're coming here for exactly accurate information, you're not coming to the
We try really hard.
We're doing our best.
I heard it from 2 people drinking Twisted Teas. All right, guys. So
I mean, that's as reliable a source as I can think of. MLB sent out a memo this morning. Jeff Passan reported on ESPN.com that they are going to fix the jersey issue that we have been talking about for months. The fact that the pants are see-through and the letters on the back look like they were printed by like an offshore $2 jersey maker.
Kindergartners.
So this wasn't a labor issue?
So what the memo states is that this was entirely a Nike issue. This was not.
So they lied.
Fanatics had nothing to do with it. Yeah, basically. They're going to return to the larger lettering on the back. They're going to fix the fact that that's when a player sweats, you can see through their jerseys and their pants. And they said that this will happen by the beginning of next season.
So they
you can't do this immediately? Like what? I don't get it. By the end of by the beginning of next season, what? Fix it. You're a multi-billion-dollar organization. You have a $10-year billion-dollar deal. If they can't get their fucking shirts, then fix them.
Our audible silence says enough right there. This is like, what? You have billions and billions of dollars. Fix this today. This is
So-
or give them
If they said by the All-Star break, I would understand. If they said by the All-Star break. But by 2025, are you kidding me? Like, fix this.
So
This is insane.
what also pisses me off, like, well, first of all, that they lied about this, but they just straight up threw Fanatics under the bus. I mean,
originally, and then now
yeah,
Fanatics. I'm sure Fanatics had words with them, and now
Fanatics was probably like, "Hey, that ain't fucking us. This is Nike. Like that, we're not the person making the uniform or the uniforms or jerseys or apparel, whatever it is." I will be fucking furious. I saw Bryce Harper wearing his old jersey from last year.
Did he really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
If I'm a baseball player, I don't want anyone seeing the outline of my cock. You know, I want to be able to play comfortably. And this is just another indictment. And I hate to keep beating a dead horse. This is an indictment of Rob Manfred. Lock this shit down. You have such a good thing going with the game right now. You got a younger audience. I saw the demographics changed by 6 years. And now you're going to do this stupid jersey shit? Come on.
Yeah. So dumb. This is something that you, as the commissioner of baseball, need to have figured out. This is number one, the things that the players are wearing on their bodies, the things that say the team names that you're trying to sell. It just doesn't make sense to me that this happened.
Oh, you mean those teams that make them all the money, that pay him his salary and everything else? Who gives a shit about them?
Yeah, it sometimes feels like these organizations, these professional sports organizations, the PGA Tour, NCAA, don't want people to watch their product, which is how they make money. It just feels like that sometimes. I know it's not like that, but I mean, I can't believe that
the decisions that are made, Dustin. I just don't. I mean, so here's the thing: like, you start running across some of these people, like some of these people are just fucking dumb, and they're no smarter than me and you and Brian.
No.
Like, it's just you're making dumb fucking decisions and you're saying stupid shit. Like, and it's gonna happen. You're gonna fuck up. You just need to come out and own it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's very, oh my God, it's very, very frustrating. Some of the decisions that get made that are so short-sighted and like don't even take into account like what's going on around them. Like they're just so fucking egotistical. I don't even know where to go with that.
It pisses me off. They're pretty smart and they're dollar dumb. It's our favorite sport. Three of us. It's three of us. Where our favorite sport is baseball, and they can never seem to get out of their own way. George Steinbrenner would probably walk into the commissioner's office and be like, "Manfred, come get your whooping," if he was still alive. So, come on, man.
If this kind of thing happened in the NFL, they would have not stopped talking about it on SportsCenter for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The only thing they were talking about.
They make a lot more money.
They fixed it. Yeah, 100%. They make a lot more money, but it's not like it's not like MLB is not making money. The Oakland Athletics have 2,000 fans show up every game, and they're still making money.
Yep.
I mean, these organizations are profitable just by the fact that they exist. You don't have to do anything. It's passive income.
Or they can just go in there and say shit, and then Rob Manfred just sits there on his hands. For somebody who's done such, and I say this all the time, I give him his flowers. He's done such a good job to change the game in the right direction. He's done such a bad job with other things too that, like, man, you could really be going down as like a great commissioner right now. But there's just so much shit that you do that pisses so many people off. That's so dumb that could so easily be avoided.
We're talking about uniforms, for God's sakes. Like, just this is so stupid.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to bring up one other thing that was kind of funny that I saw. Not funny, but CT ESPN tweeted out. I'm sure you've seen. In other words, AB. Talking about Caitlin Clark's undercarriage.
Oh, Jesus.
Dude.
What a fucking... I am so sick of everybody's blaming the way that he acts on CTE. Like, when are we just going to say that this guy is just a fucking scumbag?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's not the CTE. I think he's always just been a scumbag.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know if you can take enough hits to change your brain chemistry this much to just become this much of a jackass. But
Yeah.
if he does have CTE, then I mean,
Sucks.
I feel terrible for him. But you can't keep acting the way you're acting. There's no excuse for it. The things he's saying on Twitter are incredibly derogatory towards like pretty much everyone he talks about, and it sucks because he was probably one of the best receivers I've ever seen play. He was that good and he was that dominant for the Steelers. And it just sucks to see an athlete go down the way he has.
I don't even want to comment.
Brian's got no comment for AB.
I don't even want to comment. It's not going to come out well, and we might get canceled.
There's just nothing else. I mean, there's nothing else you can really add. It's just shut the hell up, man. And I'm sick of everybody giving him an out by the CTE comments. Like let's just call it what it is. The guy's a fucking douche. He's a scumbag.
Yeah, I want him and Greg Hardy to get in the octagon and punch each other in the face and have each other unconscious for the rest of their lives. Their brains. So then you can.
I'm in for that too.
You can kill the CTE conversation. You put both brains to sleep. So I can't. Greg Hardy threw a woman down in a bed of guns. That sounds really attractive. I mean, come on. Like, they're both lunatics.
Some real pieces of shit. Pieces of shit. When they were talking about father-son duos, we talked about it a little last week. How the NFL draft this year had a lot of second generation players, and they were showing players that have been drafted in the first round, and their fathers were also drafted in the first round. And the first name that popped up was Kellen Winslow and Kellen Winslow Jr. And I was immediately like, please get Kellen Winslow Jr. off the screen. I do not want to see this anymore. If you don't know what Kellen Winslow has done, don't look it up because you're not going to like it. He shouldn't be on ESPN. They shouldn't be promoting him. They should do what the WWE did with Chris Benoit and just completely forget that he existed.
Yeah. Don't look it up. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
The tackle that got drafted, Joe Alt, you know what I'm saying? Is ALT?
Yeah.
The picture of his dad, he looks like a Buick. I mean, he's this big.
I mean, he's got to be the size of a Buick. He's fucking 6'10". And 350 pounds.
I think he's 6'9", 350 or something like that. Number 5 overall pick by the Chargers. Yeah, they're gonna try to run the ball, and they've got two like legitimate starting left tackles.
What a Harbaugh pick too. I love that.
Yeah, and they took Ladd McConkey, the scrappy white receiver, in the top of the second round. That's such a Harbaugh pick too.
The best name other than Kool-Aid McKinstry was McConkey. All right, I'm sorry.
McConkey. Yeah. Anyway, this has been another episode of Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture. Do you guys have anything else you guys want to add, or plug or anything like that?
No, good to go. It's good seeing you guys. Hope you're all well. When do you guys leave for Charleston?
I leave. So I'm going to Charleston this weekend for a baby shower. And then next weekend we leave for not Myrtle Beach, for Hilton Head.
We're leaving on Mother's Day, I believe. We'll be there
Sunday.
From Mother's Day until the following weekend. We'll
Sunday
still probably
Friday.
get a podcast out.
Yeah, we'll record from there.
We'll work out how we're going to do that. We can take an hour out of our day.
We'll figure it out.
It's going to be exciting.
I want to do a podcast where we're all eating crabs. I'm getting a bushel next week, so I might be eating crabs. Probably picking crabs.
You're just going to eat crabs. It's be the most disgusting podcast ever. All right, fellas.
See you guys.
Yeah. Happy Monday. Enjoy y'all's week, and go
boys.
Go.